1997 year in review continues with WCW's The Great American Bash was right here on Dana Rock 08. Let's kickstart it off. Now, for the third pay-per-view in a row, Hollywood Hogan is not on the show. Not on the pay-per-view whatsoever. Whatsoever. Absolutely not. He would take the pay-per-view off again. So that has a great opportunity, since Hollywood Hogan's not there, for WCW to pick up the victory over the NWO. Because everyone knows that Hollywood Hogan's not going to lose at any major pay-per-view. However, so when that's the case, when Hollywood Hogan's not on the card, that means that WCW might be able to pick up a third straight pay-per-view victory. Well, maybe they could. The main event is Randy Savage and Diamond Dallas Page after all. So could they get it? Hollywood Hogan's not on this show. Lex Luger is again not on this show. The Giant again is not on this show. But we do have DDP and we do have Savage this time around. So let's start it off. Ultimo Dragon defeats Psychosis because Sonny Ono accidentally hits Psychosis and loses to Ultimo Dragon. This is a fine match, a 6 out of 10, but, you know, most WCW Cruiserweight matches are fucking awesome. You know, whether it's Ultimo versus Ray Ray, or Ray versus Eddie, or Eddie versus Malenko, or Malenko versus Jericho, or Jericho versus Benoit, or Benoit versus fucking anybody, or fucking Jericho versus Eddie, or whatever the case, Ultimo versus Malenko, Juventud versus Billy Kidman, or Psychosis versus Rey Mysterio. You get the picture. But here, Ultimo and Psychosis, this is not a fantastic match. A 6 out of 10, it's still a good match, but it not on par with the other Cruiserweight matches. Next up, we have Harlem Heat defeating the Steiner Brothers. It's a decent match up until the finish when fucking Virgil or Vincent or where the fuck comes out of nowhere, hits an elbow drop on Rick Steiner, and Harlem Heat gets the disqualification, and they win this match, and they're going to face the Outsiders. Why would an NWO member come out and interfere in a match that has nothing to do with them? Well, because they explained it very well on the commentary team, and I like that. They explained, well, NWO, they want to dictate who they face. They want to dictate and what and who they want to face, and they want to dictate what happens. I would say manipulate, but again, I can't pronounce some words here. Oh boy. Anyways, this is a fine match until the finish. At least Virgil gets his ass whipped. A 5 out of 10. This really should have been at Slamboree, but where the hell. Harlem Heat beats the Steiners in a 5 out of 10. Next up, Conan defeats Hugh Morris. These two were tag team partners, and then they betrayed each other to beat each other up, and now they're enemies, frenemies, where the fuck. I don't get the tag team between these two anyways. This match is dog shit. This match is actually worse than Mongo versus Reggie White. If you want to believe that, it's worse. It has last man standing rules matches stipulation, which is even worse because god damn that slow ass count. Holy shit, this match is bad. 0 out of 10. Almost as bad. It's actually probably worse than Mongo versus Reggie White if I really had to think about it. Both matches are really terrible, though. One of the worst matches in 1997. Next up, Glacier defeats Wrath in a bad match. Here is where Ernest the Cat Miller comes out and helps out Glacier, and it's bad. This belonged in WCW in 1993. 93 or 95, hell, even 95 with Dungeon of Dumb happening. If this whole Mortal Kombat bullshit was going on in 95 with the Dungeon of Dumb, and maybe it would have been fine because you had all these cartoonish bullshit happening. But WCW is supposed to have, it had the NWO, it's supposed to be cool. It's supposed to be the cool, hip show. And you have Mortal Kombat bullshit on this stuff. Cheesy, bad. A 2 out of 10. Better than Hugh Morris and Conan, though. Then we have Akira defeating Medusa in a women's championship versus career match. And this is a pretty decent match. Like I said, Medusa was the WCW women's division. And you would think her being the women's division, you would think she would be the WCW women's champion the entire time. But actually, she was never the WCW women's champion, which is insanity to believe, insane to believe. I guess maybe it's one of those Mandela effects. I could have sworn she was a WCW women's champion, but then again, we're talking about the WCW Women's Championship, a title that was probably a lot more forgettable than the WCW Hardcore title or the WCW Light Heavyweight title, from not the Cruiserweight title, the Light Heavyweight title of WCW. Very forgettable title overall, but a decent match. Again, a 5 out of 10. Medusa's career's over, I guess. Decent match. 5 out of 10. Next up, Chris Benoit defeats Mang in a death match, and it's very unnerving, very, very uncomfortable when I just said that. Mang and Chris Benoit, with woman, by the way, in a death match. Oh. Chris Benoit with Nancy in a death match against Mang. Oh. Ooh. I felt a cold chill running up on my spine there. Ugh. This one is nowhere near as good as Slamboree. 5 out of 10. This Slamboree match was good. This one was just not very good. 5 out of 10. Next up, Kevin Green defeats Steve Mongo McMichaels. So they didn't learn their lesson before having two NFL players in Mongo and Reggie White having a 15-minute match. I guess they didn't learn their lesson again because Kevin Green and Mongo have like a 10-minute match here. This was bad, but nowhere near as bad as the Reggie White one. A 2 out of 10. The Outsiders defend successfully their tag team championships against Roddy Piper and Ric Flair in basically a squash match. 6 came out. Ric Flair chased him off. Forgot Roddy Piper was still out there. Roddy Piper was alone to face the Outsiders, and they built up like he was a fighter. He was getting sympathy, and sure, but Kevin Nash was showing no sympathy whatsoever. No sympathy for Roddy Piper. And then once when Ric Flair fled the scene, this was a very, very much of a squash match. A 4 out of 10. Outsiders win, and this was just a squash match. 4 out of 10. And in the main event, Randy Macho Man Savage defeats Diamond Dallas Page in a Falls Count Anywhere match. It's not nearly as good as their Spring Stampede match, but it's still a great match nevertheless. A 7 out of 10. This match is very good. They fight at like a picnic table. Yeah, there's like a over by the stage area, the VIP section, which you can't see anything, has like a picnic table, a fucking barbecue grill. They have benches there. It's fucking weird. They have a whole picnic set up there. They destroyed that. Commentary's atrocious. Commentary's hilarious and atrocious at the same time. They go in the crowd. Randy Savage beats up every fucking person that's not Diamond Dallas Page in his way. He beats up like 3 referees. He beats up a photographer. He beats up a camera guy. He went nuts in this match. Randy Savage, finally, with the help of Scott Hall, after a razor's edge and a big elbow drop, he gets the victory. He beats Diamond Dallas Page a 7 out of 10 and saves this show from being a complete terrible show. This was a good match, like I said. Not as good as Spring Stampede's match, or Halloween Havoc for that matter, but a good match, nevertheless. Overall, WCW could not beat the NWO 3 times in a row. I guess that was just completely crazy and out of the question. A 4 out of 10 is the Great American Bash. I can't really say I recommend it whatsoever. Savage Diamond Dallas Page is fun to watch, though. So, coming up next is WWF's The King of the Ring. And for WCW, Hollywood Hogan is back. And along with him is Dennis Rodman, the Worm, for Bash at the Beach. See ya.